What's up, dudes? Max here. It's late in the night, and I'm going to be taking a small trip this weekend back as soon as possible, but I wanted to give you guys some impressions of the Soul Calibur 6 beta, which is currently live on PlayStation and Xbox. Sadly, the PC version doesn't usually get open betas for fighting games anymore, especially after like the Street Fighter V debacle, where everyone data mined a bunch of characters and was making the game completely playable before it was out. I understand, but it's funny, I think I'm looking forward to the PC version the most. And I'll kind of explain why as I get into my impressions, so let's talk about it. When you first fire up Soul Calibur 6, you're going to be greeted with a menu that has not many options. This is just a network beta. That means no training mode, that means no move lists, and a lot of stuff that people are very much frothing at the mouth to sort of figure out what their characters can do and everything like that. Hitting buttons is what they want you to do. They want you to matchmake with a whole bunch of people, and luckily I have about 8 hours of experience to report on between both the systems, both the Xbox and the PlayStation. First up, the PlayStation version, and the interesting part about this beta is you fire it up and your options for ranked, which is all there is essentially to sort by region and to sort by connection type. Now, a lot of people have been having a lot of problems with the game in terms of matchmaking, most likely because they have high connection parameters. If you set it to the highest connection, like 4 bars or above or 5 bars only, most are not getting games, and even the games they get when they have that connection isn't great. So, what essentially it boils down to is don't do that. Just put your connection under anything right now, and put your region under the same, and you should be okay. I have found that for the majority of connections I had on PlayStation, the larger of them were pretty good. The game did not have a huge amount of stutters, there was very little input delay in terms of the overall experience, but there definitely was some bad eggs in there. Soul Calibur 6 is not one of those games that's going to be able to fix your bad internet, but this game absolutely is doing something with its core system. I noticed this when I first was at EVO and I was playing a version of the game, and we were like, man, there seems to be a lot of delay on this TV. Change the TV, change the settings, eventually find out the TV is actually totally fine, and this is technically the build of Soul Calibur. Now, what this is a strategy Bandai Namco has been doing with a lot of their fighting games for the past very long time. I think one of the first games to incorporate it heavily was Tekken Tag Tournament 2. It's also done in Tekken 7, and it's also being done in Soul Calibur. Some of you might know what I'm talking about. This is a buffer system built in for a game that does not have rollback netcode. This game does have delay-based netcode. You can notice that when you play people of worse connections, it does get very delayed, but a lot of the matches I had didn't feel like it had a ton of delay, but the game absolutely does. What they do to sort of even out the experience online is they take even the offline version of the game, like I said, this happened with Tekken 7 as well as Tekken Tag Tournament 2, and they add frames that the game is going to buffer through for the online experience. Tekken Tag 2 in arcades or Tekken 7 actually did run online, and they used the similar system so the game could run smooth when it was over the different Korean and Japanese networks through the arcades. And this also translated to the console version, where I remember several Korean players and several hardcore Tekken guys were kind of complaining the fact that T7 has built-in lag into the core game itself that is for the online experience, and if everyone is sort of practicing on the offline version of the game, which even has a little bit of the online lag caked into it, then everyone's learning the same game and the online experience sort of benefits. However, T7 I don't think has the greatest online. It's okay in the 4 and 5 bars, but anything below that it gets really rough. And I'm happy to tell you that Soul Calibur is doing something very similar to those previous games, and it seems to run better. Between the matches I did get and the varying connections between 1 bar to 5 bars, there was a lot of them that ran really good and very smooth, and there were some that were really rough. But I think the one thing to take from my experience is the connection bars are bullshit. Like, what the actual bar is saying, I had people with 1 bar and it felt great. I had people with 5 bars and it was stuttery and kind of delayed and all over the place. These are the things they really got to figure out with the matchmaking. So I recommend you open up your connections to any type, because that is currently wonky as hell in the beta right now, and you want to get anybody. Even though it might be laggy in some situations, it might be a lot better even if they have a bad connection. So the more games you play, the better. That allows Bandai Namco to collect that information for this open beta and hopefully make it better in the long run, because one of the most important parts is getting matches fast. And a lot of people were not getting matches fast, and it was because they were running limited connections. They wanted to get 3 bars and above, while a lot of us were sitting here with anything, and I was just getting match after match after match after match, and I played so damn much that my fingers were starting to hurt, and I had to take some breaks. So for any of you guys that are playing the beta, definitely open up those connections, because it helps a lot. I would give my overall experience on the PlayStation probably around a 7. There is some stuff to be ironed out, absolutely. I am hoping for more search parameters and options when it comes to ranked, But I did like the fact that the format is 2 out of 3 in ranked matches. That felt really good. The base game's rounds are set to 3 out of 5, which feels great because that's the way Soul Calibur always should be. And the same could also be said, for the most part, about the Xbox version. I would say overall, the Xbox version ran a little bit better, which is weird. I was running into people of different regions and all over the place, not even just the US. And even the people that were overseas, some of the connections were actually really good. I faced some guys in New Zealand and Australia and over the Pacific Ocean, which is very damn big, and they were running fairly decent. There'd be a couple of stutters here and there, but for the most part, the game was absolutely playable. And I did notice that the input lag overall on the console version of the Xbox, through the majority of connections, felt really nice. So we were getting a lot of variety. I definitely feel that the Xbox version in the long run was probably an 8 out of 10, which is shocking considering that most online fighting games on the Xbox don't run great unless they have the name Killer Instinct in the title. But this one kind of surprised me, and the Xbox version looks good. The PlayStation version looks equally just as good. Learning the mechanics and all the crazy stuff the characters can do has been an absolute blast. Like, it feels like Soul Calibur is back, in my opinion. And I have had so much damn fun, it just hurts that I have to go now and sort of part ways with it, with all these other characters that I want to learn, but that's when the release is for. The game's only about, like, 2-3 weeks out right now. Can't wait for training mode, can't wait to figure stuff out, can't wait to learn new characters. But I'm pretty happy with the game online. It absolutely runs better than any other Soul Calibur game has online. Soul Calibur 4 is an abysmal hell of its online experience. Soul Calibur 5 improved a lot of things, but was still really rough. And Soul Calibur 2 HD Online, woof. So I'm pretty happy, and I can't wait to see what it's like when it comes out. I hope it gets better. Sometimes the games run better in the betas than they do when they come out. But I also would say that overall this game does feel like one of Bandai Namco's better efforts in terms of the online, in terms of prioritizing matchmaking and loading. Everything tends to go really quick, and it's quite nice. I hate looking at screens that say searching and you're just waiting. Like, it's so good that you don't have to reload a match when you're in between matches with somebody. If, like, your game is done and you're going into game 2, it doesn't do the Tekken thing where it goes back and loads the game up and it starts up again. It just immediately begins, and that is extremely, extremely refreshing. And like I said about the PC version, I'm hopeful the PC version is going to be better than all of them, and that has been the case with a lot of Bandai Namco's previous games too. Tekken 7 is easily way better on PC, between my experience on PlayStation and PC. And now that Soul Calibur's first iteration is going to be showing up as a PC game, this is the first time Soul Calibur, and Tekken 7 was the first time Tekken showed up on PC, it'll probably be a lot better. I hope so. I mean, I really hope so. I hope the PC version is the one that everyone gravitates to because it'll probably look the best, it'll probably perform the best, I hope, and it might have the best online. So here's to hoping. That's the version I'm looking forward to the most as of right now, but my experience on the PS4 and Xbox was pretty good, and hopefully you guys have something similar, and if not, trust me, open up those connections because the beta is currently very wonky with what is good on terms of the little bar display. It's not accurate. Just accept anything and you'll probably get more good connections than not. As always, dudes, thank you a ton for watching. There'll be more Soul Calibur beta footage on the channel as soon as possible. My name is Max, and I'll see you next time.